Welcome to Thoughts Roundup. Today I'd like again to address the idea of public speaking. It's very difficult for me to talk very long without something about public speaking because not that I think I'm so great about it, I just love it. I have written a book called When You Stand to Speak, and it's been used by colleges and university. And that's, like I say, even though I get a lot of calls for the book, yet I don't count myself as, I know enough about public speaking to know that there's so many that's so much greater. But I just, like I say, I love the idea. And the first time I spoke was in Alexandria Church in Louisiana when old brother Mangan, elder brother G.A. Mangan was my pastor. And he gave Carl McKellar and Kenneth Phillips and I all a chance to speak the same night in a youth service. And I was nervous as a termite in a yo-yo. And when I had made up my mind, I was going to look at the clock the first thing so that I wouldn't go too long. Well, whenever I they introduced me, and I looked at the clock. I couldn't see the clock. I couldn't see the hands. I couldn't have told you the time. And I didn't have to worry about going too long. I had to worry about going long enough. That's what I had to worry about. But let me just say this. Just a few little facts about it. You don't have to be an orator, really. I heard an orator one time. He was one of the greatest speakers I ever heard. He was one of our preachers, and he wasn't noted. He wasn't preaching a lot of big meetings and that sort of thing, but he was the best in the business. And I told our church, I said, listen, I have an orator coming to speak for us. And you're going to love him. You're going to love to hear him. And I just built him up, and finally he came. I was so excited. I introduced him. And he came on up to the pulpit and he said, perhaps there's a lot of things I could say, and perhaps there's a lot of things I should say. And however, the urgency of the hour demands that I press into the message. So I will clamp the spurs to the bloodless sides of imagination. He said at that moment the evening began to weave a delicate web from the sinews of silence and spread it upon nature's body. Our church never knew he came nor left. And I asked him at home, I said, what did that mean? He said, that means the sun went down. And that's when I made up my mind. If we're going to talk about the sun going down, we'll just say the sun went down. You see, you don't have to be an orator. You just make a straight forward speech. That's one of the first rules, just a straight forward speech. It needs to be filled. Your talk needs to be filled with common sense. Common sense. And you talk with the audience and not at them. You talk with the audience and not at them. There's an old saying that says a sailor is not entirely at the mercy of the sea. He can set his sails. He can drop anchor. Or he can invent a steamship. He's not totally at the mercy of the sea. We don't want to. I think a lot of times I hear preachers preaching and they're going a little too long. I think maybe it'd be good to drop anchor. That wasn't exactly what I meant in it, but it still might be a very usable point. The main thing, one of the main things, is don't mistake words for substance. Some younger preachers seem like, especially, they just feel like if they can say enough words to stay on their feet and scream them a little loud or something, make a little commotion. But actually, substance is more important than mere words. God bless you.